Alrighty, guys. Today is Wednesday. I do apologize that I didn't have a webinar Monday and Tuesday, just because I've been relatively busy doing something privately. I'm not going to talk about it until I actually accomplish what I need to accomplish with what I'm doing. But all I'm going to say is that I'm very excited for my future steps, not even in trading, but in other aspects of my life as far as finances that are starting to happen, as far as goals that I have. One thing about me, and I feel like personally, in this philosophy that I have, that everybody should, in a sense, adapt, just because it makes a lot of sense for me personally. I'm not saying that you have to do it, but let me just explain. When it comes down to every goal that you have, everything that you want to do in life, and all that stuff, uh, of course, many of you have, in a sense, encountered people who just talk, who just say what they want to do or talk about their goals consistently. Every time we talk about them, they're always talking about what they want to do, what they're going to do. And years pass, months pass, weeks pass, and they're still not doing what they want to do, because it's basically, it feels better to talk about it than actually doing the work. So what my philosophy is when it comes down to that is just basically do what you got to do. No one gives a damn what you want to do. No one gives a fuck what goals you have. Yes, it's monumental to, in a sense, inspiring people. But at the same time, if you genuinely do want to achieve something in life, just do it. Stop trying to pave the way by talking all about it and all the things you want to do. Just do it. Let your actions speak for yourself. And that's the kind of person I am. I never really talk about my goals or anything that I want to do, because I really don't care if people know or people need to know. And I'm saying that specifically so if I can, in a sense, inspire some of the mindset that we have around here, is because I noticed that with a lot of people that I talk to, is that are quite successful, that is that whenever it comes down to them actually speaking about their goals, it's hardly ever they talk about potential. Like, they generalize it, but they don't necessarily specify what they want to do. They just generalize it because their actions speak for themselves, and there's no need for that. So that's just a little bit of advice before we go straight into these pairs. So first off, we have AUD USD. So when it comes down to AUD USD, I have my March. I have a trade set up for it right now. Right now, it's in negatives, not necessarily something that's vital, or in a sense, psychologically affecting me at all. Do we have a bearish trend line being respected on the monthly, broke away, retest on the support system when it comes down to these levels. Very simple setup, not much into detail. We look at the daily. So when it comes down to the daily, we identify this sense of a channel. We see the market respect these levels. And another great thing that I'm starting to see when it comes down to AUD USD is this level of support that we have right here. A breakaway from, not a breakaway, but a retest from this bearish trend line. Retested multiple times, wicks on the downside, and it's within that level where it's finding a lot of support within these levels. So now let's look at the a 4 hour. So when it comes down to the 4 hour, let me clean my chart up a little bit. This is why it's important to clean your charts up. One thing about as you become better at trading, not saying that I'm better, but what I noticed is that your charts don't mark up a lot. I still have a lot and to improve, but I've seen a lot of traders who are quite successful. Their charts are barely ever marked up, just like a few lines there. And not necessarily that's saying that's the epitome of success, but I'm just saying it makes sense just because you start to understand pairs a little bit more, that you don't need all of this. So first of all, we see this bearish trend line being respected, retested at this level, and we find support right here at these zones. So what I'm going to do right now, just because this is a very good trade setup, I'm not saying it's going to 100% happen, but just because I see it and I analyze it and I can sort of visualize what it could potentially do, I'm actually going to place another trade at it. Like I said, this is more of a trade setup based on confidence, based on potential TP. Overall, do not take a trade without your technical analysis. I'm getting my phone just to place my trade right now. So when it comes down to AUD USD, a lot of you know that AUD USD is not a relatively slow. It's a relatively slow pair. So I'm trying to talk while I'm doing this at the same time, which doesn't really help. So when it comes down to this specific pair, this is one of the first pairs that I started trading with seriously, because of the fact of how um, slow it was, and that really helped me out a lot because I could also identify potential moves in the market before they actually happen with prior notice. Just because it was so slow that it didn't give me in like a bunch of volatility to potentially okay, play straight. Okay. So overall, it's I'm a buying position based on my analysis. Break away from bearish trend lines, higher time frame, respecting the support zones, and overall, there's been a lot of confirmations based on that information. Of course, it can go down. Not saying this has to be 100%. Win to lose ratio doesn't necessarily. It's not as important. I do say that if you want to be a successful trader, at least have a 60% win rate. But I've also come to understanding that you don't necessarily need to even have that. As long as your profits are higher than your losses, then you're a profitable trader. This is not a win-win game. If you have a streak, understand that's going to be eventually broken. You can't be 100% with this, even if you wanted to. Like, it's probable. I mean, it's possible, but it's not probable. And I'm not discouraging anybody from trying to be the best trader they can possibly be. I'm just saying, do not be so hard on yourself. You have the potential to do great things in this industry. Just don't limit yourself just because you see somebody else having a winning streak. Who knows? You could be making more money than them based on your few trades and your losses. Okay, now let's go to EU. Let's look at the monthly. Okay, that's a weekly. That's not what I wanted. So when it comes down to the monthly, we see this bearish trend line, respected multiple times, found a lot of support at this level, and we look at the daily. Overall, channel created, market respecting these zones, finding a lot of support. A lot of resistance at the support level. But another thing that I'm also identifying is this bearish trend line. Let's go a little bit closer into that. I'm gonna delete this because it looks nasty. Look at that. All these markups. You guys see this? Like when it comes down to trading, you don't necessarily have to be the best. You don't have to be a 100 like a 4.0 GPA individual. You can just analyze this. This is based on experience and work ethic. That's literally what it is. So let's look at the 4-hour market. Is looking like it's gonna break this bearish trend line and retest it. But overall, for me to get into this specific trade, I don't plan on getting on EU right now, just because of the fact that my confirmations aren't that reliable with EU because I don't have enough information to base a trade on it. So overall, what I'm expecting for the market to do and what I would, in a sense, consider in order to get into a position as a buy is for the market to break away from this level and retest. That is my requirement for EU specifically, for it to break away and retest. I would, in terms, get into a trade if it has a bullish engulfing candle, but my reality is, let me just explain a little bit more what it is bullish engulfing candle, because I feel like I talk a lot about things and I don't really explain them into detail as I should. So let's see, how can I draw up in here? Damn. Could it be this one? Okay, that's not what I wanted at all. Okay, so I know I used to draw up in, but I don't know why I can't draw anymore. Maybe they took that off. Well, honestly, I never had to draw that much, so stay in drawing mode, okay? And let's see if I can do this dot. Oh, that's just the cursor. All right, let's just do it with a basic this. Okay, so bullish engulfing candle is simple. You expect the market to take this as an example. This is the body of a candle. And this is in terms its wicks. These are just to compare them, to be honest. So this is what I mean when I talk about a bullish engulfing candle. Oh my gosh. So when it comes down to this, we see this candle engulfing majority of its wicks, meaning that it's a full body. When you see this, we see wicks on the outside, wicks on both sides. So overall, this is not considered bullish engulfing candle. It does not have enough, in a sense, momentum on one direction to actually create such a movement. So overall, when I say bullish or bearish, I just mean that it has a candle that is engulfing its body. So overall, it's not just wicks. It could have a little bit of wicks, but at the same time, it's not like, let's say, for example, this example, or but when I do see bearish engulfing candle, let's use this example right here. That's perfect bearish engulfing candle. So that's simple. Yeah, that's EU. Now let's go to UJ. UJ actually got into a trade, was in profits, went back down, back into my entry point. Not necessarily feeling anything about it. Let's look at the monthly. So on the monthly, we see a bearish trend line, respect it, broke away, retest, wicks on the downside. On a monthly, the higher the time frame, the more reliable. That's what I say as far as that's concerned. Overall, on the daily, market information is not, in a sense, consistent to what I want to see as far as information that I could potentially take. So we do see this bullish trend line respected, broken away, retest, and push below that. But now we do see higher highs when it comes down to this new information. Overall, market broke away from this resistance zone, created a new support, and now we're at that exact level where there's a potential re-entry in this market. So my expectation for UJ is still bullish. Not changing my bias just because of this. Overall, if you analyze this a little bit more detail, you do see a bullish trend line being created on the 1 hour. So overall information, and one thing that would necessarily make me lean into a sell would be a breakaway from these general areas. But overall, just based on the information, in my analysis alone, I do see a buy on UJ. So UCAD. UCAD. I had a great week with UCAD last week. It was phenomenal. So we have this bullish candle being, bullish trend line being respected multiple times. Market has not pushed above this, which is also a lot of confirmation that there's potential for the market to break away and retest on the downside and create a bearish momentum. Overall, market has not pushed above this resistance zone when it comes down to the daily, and we look at the 4 hour. Information, market is within that consolidation zone, has not necessarily pushed above or below it. It's just within that general area. So for me to get into this specific trade setup, my bias on this is I don't really have a bias, if I'm being completely honest. I don't really see much of a setup with UCAD, and that's completely fine. I don't need to. Not every single pair that analyzes means that I'm going to get into trade setup. But if we do look at this a little bit more detail, so this, I did not want to touch that. Okay, so potential for the market to maintain an upward direction is just determined on this information right here. I would honestly, I'm leaning more towards a sell just because of the fact that it has not broken away from this resistance zone. There's a lot of wicks on the upside. But overall, just going to be patient until it breaks away from this general consolidation and retest. That's really what I need to see. So Ripple. I've been Ripple since like last week, and so far it's been really good. Look at the monthly, what we don't do on these specific pairs. I mean, cryptocurrency, just because of the fact there's not enough viable information. Look at the daily, simple information. This is ugly. You see how ugly this is? Try to make your charts look pretty. Not even because it's aesthetic wise, it's just because it makes you concentrate less on what's going on as far as all these lines and more on what's the actual picture, which is the actual direction of the market. Okay, so look at the 4 hour. Let's look back at the daily. I didn't really emphasize on what's going on. We see this bearish trend line respected, broken away, and retest. Almost exactly. Do you guys see how clear cut that is? Like we can even trace this trend line all the way back here, which is great. Breakaway, retest, pushing on a bullish run. And we see this maintaining that direction for about maintaining it all the way up here. So it's within that zone that it's still pushing above that, calculating pips. Whoa, that's a lot. Okay, so when it comes down to this specific cryptocurrency, if you want to get into this, my bias on it is not necessarily bullish, bearish. I am in the bullish position, but at the same time, I always keep in my mind open because of the fact that I have entered back here and I was not aware of this whole information until it developed. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens within the zone. I do see wicks on the upside, which could potentially mean that the market's going to maintain a downward direction. Just to be safe than sorry, I would rather just wait it out. Look at these and analyze. Let's see. Overall direction is probable for bullish, but if you do want to get into the setup, I would wait until it breaks away from this zone of resistance, retest, and pushes above. Or if you do see a position for yourself, I would highly recommend you wait until it breaks away from this support level. Now let's look at US30. US30 is a simple way to trade. Look at the monthly. Market has not pushed above this ever. Let's look at the daily. Market is showing a lot of information, a lot of white noise within this level, but what we're trying to identify is what's happening right now. So let's look at the 4-hour. Simple analysis. Market has been on a bearish trend for the past several days, weeks in fact, and it's within that zone where it's respecting this. So we saw this, how simple it was. Break away from this support zone and create resistance and push down. But if you want to go into more detail, 1 hour, we see this. We see a bullish trend line once, twice, three, breakaway, retest, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I actually got into it at the second retest. And potential TP is all the way down here. US30, like I said, you need a bigger account to trade it. Don't try to be a risky trader as far as you're trying to make so much money with little money, because more than often it's not going to work out. Like, I'm being really honest. Like, I may sound like discouraging at times just because of how I am and who I am as a person. But I'm being completely honest when it comes down to this. I'm not here to BS you and tell you can do anything or you can do everything you ever dream about. I'm very blunt about this, and I'm not here to make you feel good as far as who you are as a trader or not. I'm here to give you the honest truth as far as what I've learned. And I feel like how I progress as a trader has been because people have been honest with me, not because people told me it's easy this way or easy that way. Another thing, I am very personal about trading. I love trading. It's my passion. I don't really care much about posting it anymore. Other than, getting my name out there. But a fact is that I really love trading, and I love it so much that I'm willing to be genuine with people and tell them what's the truth when it comes down to what is expected in this industry. And it's not about recruiting. It's not about getting people involved in it. It's more about you becoming that example to become the best trader so people can see that and visualize it in themselves. And when it comes down to this, if you want to be a successful trader, and I emphasize it so much, please stop taking signals. Like, that's just those signals run out eventually. And even if they don't, they just create a dependency on you. Like, it may sound good, like, oh shit, you're making money with other people's ideas. But if all honesty, it doesn't bring you any kind of fulfillment because of the fact that you are not creating that own success. You are not developing that success. I do analyze through this webinar, and I do say setups, but I always emphasize do your own analysis because of the fact that it's very important for me for that you become an independent trader. I don't care if you continuously watch my videos or don't. What really matters to me is that you become a successful trader on your own terms, and you do that because it's what you want to do and because it's what you love. A lot of people right now, if I'm being completely honest, are just in it because of the hype, because people say it's easy money, because it's always going to be there. You're going to get money and you don't have to work for it. But what they fail to realize is that you do have to work for it. In fact, you have to risk more than the average individual. You have to put in more work. And it's not even about the money. It's more about just becoming consistent and becoming a better person when it comes through this. That's basically it as far as being in this industry. I mean, damn, I've been trading for 5 years, about over a year consistently, and I've learned a lot. And I'm just trying to close the gap between you guys and potentially getting to a higher level as far as trading. I'm not saying that people in this industry, the new people who are joining, are necessarily the best to learn from, but I'm just saying keep your priorities straight and understand who you want to be as an individual and what you want to leave behind as a legacy, and understand that you, as long as you're dependent on other people, you will always have that sense of, in a sense, how to explain it, you will never find that fulfillment that comes from working at your own craft and making it work for yourself. I'm not saying don't learn, don't have mentors. I'm just saying make sure you, at the end of the day, you're going through a path that's going to make you an independent person, and you become better because of it. Um, like I said, I hate signals. I used to take them, and the reason why I'm so against them is because I understand the mindset that comes with it. It's easy money, and shit. It's not even, you don't have to work for it. So as I'm a little piece of pie. At the end of the day, I hope everyone is successful who watches these videos. But I do not. It is not, in a sense, a die for me. Like, if you're not, so you don't become successful through trading, you can become successful through something else. But at the end of the day, if you don't become successful in general, yes, it'll be upsetting, but I'm not gonna die because of it. I'm just gonna keep going, and I expect you to do the same. Because in this world, we baby too many people. We try to, make things easy for them, and I'm trying to make things hard for you. Because if this hard can be in terms easy, then who knows what you can accomplish with that, in a sense, that mindset you create based on that idea that this takes hard work. And like being involved in trading before the hype was, I'm not saying that I started trading. Trading has been since years before me, but I remember how it was before this and how much respect traders used to get, and forex individuals and investors. But now it's just like, it's a mockery, because a lot of people are just, they don't really understand what it's about, and they just want to, how to close that page out, because I was looking at user studies going up, and I don't really want to get, I don't want to get invested in that by looking at it and being like, oh, it's gonna keep going up. Just don't look at it. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. But yeah, that's one thing I have noticed, man. It's years ago, you would talk about forex, people would, in a sense, be intrigued by it, but now there's so much behind it, so many facades, that it's hard to actually, like, be an example, not even an example, just to, like, I no longer have a need to talk about it, because it's my passion, it's my goal, it's what I want to do in life. And the people that really do talk about it are recruiters, or in a sense, people who are actually very, very successful through trading, and they're helping other people by educating them. And for me personally, I'm not to the point where I can say I am successful as far as I'm the best. Like, I'm not 100,000 trader. I'm not $1 million trader, but in terms, I will expect myself to get there just by work ethic and just consistently studying. So yeah, I'm just telling you guys what helped me throughout the path, and I've been on both spectrums. I've been in MLMs involving forex, and I've been an independent trader. And I can tell you 100% of the times, well, 99.9 times, it's better to be an independent trader, just because of the fact that you're not burdened by the idea of having to recruit. And another thing is that you're basically doing things on your terms, not having to, in a sense, make other people wealthy while you watch and just observe. Because trading is $1 trillion business. I mean, shit, you can make money through this. Never had to talk to an individual. That's why I like it. I don't have to talk to anyone, but I have to, because I want to help people. Everything I do is for free. So, and I think even after I release my course, I'm still gonna make it free. Like, I'm starting to think about that. I'm like, I don't really want to make money off of it. It's not that important anymore. But hope everybody has a great day. Talk more about that later, and I'll see you guys probably Friday or whenever there's more updates on the market. All right, have a great night.